Okay, folks. Well, back up to the bus. Just me today. The wife and kids are enjoying um, their last Saturday of the summer. Today was spent mostly gathering some supplies and getting ready, but hopefully we're going to get into routing out some channels in the floor so that we can drop hydronic in here. First thing I'm going to do is pull up the plywood I put in here. I'd started kind of piecing together. I'm going to pull up that plywood, stick it off to the side. Then I'm going to measure a center line on the bus and snap that with a chalk line, and then measure off of that to get where all of the hydronic lines are going to go. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm actually going to measure the halfway point side to side on the bus, in the front and in the back. And I'm going to mark it off with a paint marker so that it'll show up on the black paint. And that's going to give us the ability to snap a chalk line. And that chalk line will be our reference point for everything else. All of my measurements on the document that I hopefully have shown you, all of my measurements are from the center back of the bus. That's my 0 point. And then I can come forward and off to each side to get what I need to get as far as all of my other placements. And I have to mark it on the black, not on the pink foam, because eventually when we cover the pink foam with plywood, I'll need to redo all of this on the plywood so that I know where not to drill later on, because I don't want to have to take all the plywood out to try to fix a leaky hydronic system. All right, back to work. Wow. So that took forever. I don't know how much time lapse actually captured, but let me show you where we're at before I go home today. Let me get into the light. I spent the entire afternoon drawing lines. Hopefully you can see these. There are lines that are that show me where I need to rotor. Let's see here. I hope you guys can see these. There are lines that show me where I need to rotor in order to draw up my hydronic lines. I also started by putting in all of these ledger marks along the back of the bus and actually all four sides. I even did a few on the wheel wells here. Those are the marks that I'm going to use. Let me show you the rest of the lines of the floor. Those are the marks that tell me where all of these lines and all of these curves ended up on the foam. And I'm going to need to know that. This is the complicated part right in here. I'm going to need to know where all of the lines and all of the curves are, because I need to redraw all of this stuff, taking another half a day. I need to redraw all the stuff on top of the plywood, because I'd like to know where not to drill and screw. I'm building a bus, so I get to make up where everything goes, but I do need to make sure that I don't punch these hydronic lines, because if I do that, I'm going to have to dig them out, splice them, and then there's going to be a splice in the middle of the line, Or I have to take everything back out of the bus and take all the plywood back up, and that's not going to happen. So it is super important that I know where these lines are. So I spent a long time today getting them where they need to be and making sure that I can know where they are after I cover them in plywood. Yeah. It wasn't any fun. Probably wasn't a great video either, so apologies. I am bailing right now, but next week I intend to router in all the lines. That ought to be funny. I'll end up covered in pink stuff. I'm going to router all these lines, and then I'm going to try to stuff them with hydronic rated PEX and a secret ingredient that'll get me laughed at. But you'll have to subscribe and check that out next week. For now, like, subscribe, ring a bell, make a comment. Really, any interaction is wonderful. Beg me to know what the secret ingredient is. Make fun of me in advance. I don't really care. But whatever you do, have a great week.